Well, hello, good morning. Welcome, everybody. The Board of County Commission meeting. We're glad you're joining us. Those that are joining us online, Facebook and YouTube, those joining us here in person, a lot of smiley faces today. We're glad that you're here. We got a good meeting planned. When you walked in, we like to encourage you to pick up a meeting agenda packet. That way you can follow along with all the items we're discussing today. If you're curious about some of the backup and supporting documents, some of the information, the background information that's informing the commission as we make decisions, you can also access all of those documents at sedgwickcounty.org. We encourage you to do so. We got a lot on the agenda today with wonderful guests here in the audience that we're going to honor today. So why don't we get to work? I'll officially call this meeting to order for April 23rd, 2025. Madam Clerk, first item, please.
Invocation to be observed by a moment of silence. Please remain standing for the flag salute.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. Madam Clerk, next item.
Roll call. Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Present.
Commissioner Weiss.
Present.
Commissioner Howell.
Present.
Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Present. Next item.
County announcements.
Good morning, Nicole.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Nicole Gibbs of Strategic Communications. For County Good News today, Sedgwick County EMS has partnered with the Ulrich Museum of Art for a pop-up exhibition called The Hidden Side of Emergency Medical Services. This exhibition is funded by the National Science Foundation and showcases the workload and dedication of EMS professionals in this one-of-a-kind display. The exhibition is open now through Friday, and to get museum hours and more information, visit ulrich.wichita.edu/current exhibitions. Next up, Sedgwick County is hosting a job fair on Wednesday, April 30th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Wichita Workforce Center, which is near 21st and Amidon. Job seekers can explore a variety of job openings and connect with local employers. Don't miss your chance to take the next step in your career. And as everyone may have already forgotten, we only have one link left in the burn ban, which is a state-imposed burn ban. Open burning is prohibited in Sedgwick County to protect our air quality. Only prescribed burns in agricultural settings are allowed. You can find more information at sedgwickcounty.org/fire. And that's all I have for today.
Okay, wonderful. Appreciate that, Nicole. That EMS little documentary thing is going to be really, really cool. So excited to see that. Commissioners, any questions or comments for Nicole? Okay, seeing none, thank you, appreciate it. Madam Clerk, next item.
Public agenda.
Okay, we did have one person sign up for public agenda today. Andrew Crane, Guiding Paws ICT. When you come to the podium, sir, if you can just state your name and address officially for the record, our wonderful clerk will give you 5 minutes. Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning, Commissioners, and Andrew Crane, Guiding Paws ICT. I know last week there was an article in the Wichita Eagle on the traffic and crosswalks and stuff, and the county and city both need to work together on that, and the Access Advisory Board has been saying that for years, and that, so I will be sending you that article. Hopefully you'll be responding to that article, and I know that the Access Advisory Board will be hopefully be sending you guys a letter, and hopefully you'll be responding quickly on that, because I think the county and the city both need to work together on that issue and help out the blind and disability community. And you know, I'm huge on helping out the disability and blind community in this great state of ours, and that. So, Commissioners, let's go to work.
Okay, Andrew, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Commission, any questions or comments? Okay, Andrew had mentioned an article that was in Wichita Eagle. My appointee to the Access Advisory Board, Tom Page, was referenced in that. Tom does a good job advocating for those, particularly in the blind community. So we saw the article, Andrew. We'll wait for your email, and we'll keep up the work, okay?
Thank you.
Appreciate you, bud. Okay, Madam Clerk. Let's do this. Let me make a motion to receive and file public comment.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Okay, next item, please.
Consideration of minutes. Item A, regular meeting minutes of April 9th, 2025.
Okay, Commissioners, everyone was present for this meeting. Any questions or comments on these minutes? Okay, seeing none, I'll move to approve the regular meeting minutes of April 9th, 2025.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Next item, please.
Proclamations. Item B, proclamation declaring Day of Student Success.
Yeah, we've asked Commissioner BLUBAUGH to read this proclamation.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Whereas students across Sedgwick County work hard to overcome challenges, achieve academic and personal milestones, and build bright futures, and whereas the Pando Initiative hosts the STAR Awards each year to honor students who have demonstrated resilience, perseverance, and success in the face of adversity, and 2025 marks the 30th anniversary of this event, which began in 1995 and continues to recognize and uplift students from Wichita, Derby, Hayesville, and Mays school districts. And whereas this year, 54 students from the schools across Sedgwick County will be honored at the STAR Awards for their dedication, hard work, and achievements. And whereas student success is made possible not only through individual determination, but also through the support of families, educators, mentors, and community organizations, and recognizing these achievements fosters a culture of encouragement, reinforces the value of education, and inspires future leaders in Sedgwick County. And whereas by designating May 1st the day of the student success, Sedgwick County unites its celebrating students' hard work, growth, potential encouraging, and the community to uplift and recognize their accomplishment. Now therefore be resolved that Chairman Ryan Beatty and the Board of County Commissioners do hereby proclaim May 1st, 2025 as the Day of Student Success in Sedgwick County, and encourage all residents to support and celebrate student achievements in our community. And I'd like to go ahead and I'd like to go ahead and make the motion. Make the motion to approve the proclamation.
Yep, I'll second that motion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Aye.
And we have Daniel Medford from the Pando Initiative here today. Thank you very much.
Yeah, come on, man. Hey, Daniel, welcome.
Thank you so much for having us. I brought Nikki Childers, our executive director, to talk a little bit about the proclamation and student success in Sedgwick County.
Yeah, Nikki, welcome. Officially welcome from Sedgwick County government.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the commissioners for acknowledging, as it said in the proclamation, we have been in the community supporting students for several decades, and we will be celebrating 30 years, and as we all know, student success is very important, and so we are dedicated to continue to provide resources, support, and tools by our staff and our team on the site team to provide as much as support we can for our students in Sedgwick County. So we're looking forward to serving more students. We're looking forward to continuing to be invisible in the community. And I'd like to also thank Daniel, who's our Director of Marketing and Community Relations, for ensuring that this proclamation was submitted.
Yeah, beautiful. Nikki, would you mind letting everybody know you're kind of new to this role, right? How long have you been in this role as a CEO and Executive Director?
Absolutely. I've been in this role about 9.5 months.
Yeah.
I am a native of Wichita, Kansas. I have about 20 years in the nonprofit sector,
Yep.
leaving a national nonprofit to come back to Wichita to support this organization and watch it grow.
Well, I know your story, and that's why I wanted to make sure that the community was aware that you're new in this role, and we brought you home to do this, and your heart's desire was really to serve this community and these kids. So really want to thank you for coming back and everything you do at Pando Initiative and your team, your remarkable team. So I got one more comment, but I want to pause for a second. Any questions or comments from the commission? Yeah, Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to say thank you for what you do. I think there's probably families out there that don't really maybe know about what this is all about. And if they wanted to learn more information, do you have a website or a place that people can donate money, or how do they get involved if they want to learn more? What's the best way for them to learn?
Absolutely. You can reach us at thepandoinitiative.org. We are in 27 school sites across Sedgwick County in 4 school districts. Oh. We'll be expanding into 30 programs in the fall, and we also do Reality U. Reality U is a financial literacy simulation that we do for 8th and 10th graders across the state and now beyond. So we're going beyond Kansas borders in the fall and meeting the needs of students and helping them with financial literacy. So please reach out to us, go to our website, learn more about what we do, where our site staff are located, and Star Awards, we're excited for that as well.
And where will the Star Awards happen? Where's the?
It will be at the Crown Uptown Theater.
Okay, and date and time? May
1st. Doors open at 1:30. The event is from 2 to 3:30. And if you go to our website, you'll learn more about how to purchase tickets.
Thank you for all that great information. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Hey, I just want to thank you again on everything you guys do for financial literacy. You know, when I was on the council, I was always excited every time you guys would present and discuss that publicly, and I think it's so important that you highlight that to students today. So thank you for all you're doing with financial literacy.
Thank you.
Very good. I would just want to say in a personal thank you to Pando Initiative. A few years ago, we started a foundation called Love Like Remy. The Love Like Remy Foundation was founded after a young girl, Remington, at Mays High School, who went on to cheer at KU and unfortunately lost her life to suicide while she was at KU. And we wanted to create a foundation in her honor and raise awareness towards mental health issues, but also just raise awareness and support and resources to put back into schools. And we reached out to the Pando Initiative, and you guys stepped up in a way that literally I get goosebumps thinking about all that you've done. We were able to raise over $150,000 to put 2 of your support staff into the Mays School District in collaboration and with the support of the superintendent and the Mays School staff. And you guys are there, and you're doing a wonderful job. And I talked to all of these teachers in the elementary schools. They wanted to get early in elementary school for some early interventions, and they're all so incredibly grateful for the work that your team does. So I was on the ground floor of that, and I watched the magic that you guys do. And if it wasn't for the Pando Initiative, that heart's desire to intervene, particularly in the Mays School District, it wouldn't have come to a reality. The Love Like Remy Foundation wouldn't have had the resources or the support, but you made it happen. So I just wanted to publicly thank you for that and all that you guys do, and to celebrate you today as we celebrate this proclamation and the work that you guys do in our community. So
thank you so much. And I would like to just recognize some of our students, site staff from various schools across Sedgwick County that are joining us today. So excited they were able to here to represent some of our schools.
Yeah, well, you're heroes. We thank you. Yeah,
if I could just take one more minute, please. I would like to formally extend an invitation to the commissioners to join us at the Star Awards to celebrate the Proclamation Day on May 1st of Day of Student Success, and watch all 54 of our students walk the red carpet and receive their awards in front of their community. So
beautiful. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Very good. So thank you again, guys. Appreciate it. And if you don't mind hanging out, and if your whole staff, we're going to do another proclamation, and then we have a really exciting deal with Project Search here, and then we'll take some pictures out in the hall as soon as we're done. Okay. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Item C, proclamation declaring Drug Endangered Children's Day.
Okay, I'd like to read a proclamation of Sedgwick County, Kansas. Whereas many children in Sedgwick County are drug-endangered children. This danger comes in many forms: the impact of maltreatment from their substance use disease parents or caregivers, the impact of the substance use disease parents or caregivers of their friends, the impact of a person selling drugs to a teen not realizing one pill can kill, the impact of pretty blue pills that look like yummy pieces of candy to a child, or the impact of the buzz driver. And whereas substance misuse does not create a healthy setting for parents or caregivers to provide a safe environment for the children of Kansas to thrive. And whereas in Sedgwick County, 434 of the removals for placement into foster care were due to the substance use of parents. And whereas through community collaborations of government, schools, nonprofits, and local interested individuals, the children of Sedgwick County in need of intervention can be identified earlier and moved from at risk to resilience. And whereas citizens of Sedgwick County can play a role in reducing risk and building healthy families by awareness of the Drug Endangered Children's Program. Now, therefore, it be resolved that I, Chairman Ryan Beatty, and the Board of Sedgwick County Commissioners do hereby proclaim April 23rd, 2025 is Drug Endangered Children's Day, and we urge citizens of Sedgwick County to join us in this observation and prevent the impact of drugs on children. Commissioners, you've heard the proclamation. I move to approve it as read.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Aye. And here to accept this proclamation is a friend of the commission, Sarah Robinson, Sedgwick County Alliance for Drug Endangered Children. Hi, Sarah. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'm just a placeholder. I would like to introduce one of our board members, Dr. Kim Wilson from WSU. She's one of the Drug Endangered Alliance Sedgwick County board members. So I'll turn it over to her, and I thank you all and encourage you to take a look at those packets, and if you want more, call us.
Yeah, very good. Dr. Wilson, welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for this honor. I have just a few words, and then I would like the team to introduce themselves as well. So I'm Kim Wilson. I'm a professor in education at Wichita State. I am born and raised in Wichita, a product of the Wichita Public Schools. I'm also co-founder of PrimeFit Youth Foundation, which is a youth mentoring organization. And so I just want to take a minute to say thank you very much for this important proclamation and for recognizing the critical work being done to protect and support drug-endangered children in our community. On behalf of the DEC Alliance and all of our dedicated partners, which includes law enforcement, social services, medical professionals, educators, and advocates, we are honored to accept this proclamation. Drug-endangered children are some of the most vulnerable members of our community. They often live in the shadows of substance abuse, exposed to trauma, neglect, and danger. Through collaboration, early intervention, and a shared commitment to their safety and well-being, we can change the trajectory of their lives. This proclamation not only raises awareness, but it reaffirms that this community stands united in its efforts to protect children, break the cycle of substance abuse, and offer hope and healing. Again, thank you for this.
Yeah.
And our team members, I'm Sarah Robinson.
Yeah, please come up to the podium if you can. We'd like to.
Hi, I'm Sarah Robinson. I'm one of the board members and staff of the DEC Coalition.
Okay.
I'm Lori Chandler. I'm the Outreach and Education Manager at the Child Advocacy Center of Sedgwick County, and I'm also on the coalition.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Cheryl Whittington, and I work through Urban League through Workforce of Kansas.
Yes.
I'm on the senior employment program.
Hi, I'm Amy Holford, and I actually work for First Student 259. So, and I work with children every day. And right now, I'm actually at a nonprofit right now at Urban League, and I love it.
Yeah.
So,
I recognize you from there. Yeah, certainly.
John Castelaw, Family Resource Center Director at Urban League of Kansas.
Yes. That's a familiar face.
Good morning. Bringing up the rear here, I'm Dee Nice-Longer. I'm the Wichita Regional Director for the Department for Children and Families. I'm a member of the Alliance here locally. We have an alliance in Pratt, and I'm also on the Kansas Alliance for Drug Endangered Children.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank everyone for their advocacy and their work. Commissioners, any questions or comments? Okay, Dr. Wilson, if you don't mind, we serve together on the Gathered Board for Foster Kids, and I'm very much, I know quite a bit of the work that you do with PrimeFit. Would you be able to tell the community just what PrimeFit does? I want to use this as an opportunity because I think this is the intervention. It's unique. We have Pando here today. We've got everyone here, Urban League, Child Advocacy Center, DCF. We're talking about the coalition, the work that you guys do, and then your representation on PrimeFit and Gathered. Like, what all do you guys do, and why is it important to this community?
Yes, so I have to give a shout out to my Pando friends. We share several schools and lots of kids, so we admire the work that you guys do, and we are a new organization. We're celebrating our 6th year, so congrats to 30. That's amazing. So Prime Fit, we say that to be Prime Fit means that you are mentally, emotionally, and academically fit. So we target not only social, emotional, executive function, and self-regulation skills, which, if you look at the research, are highly predictive of positive youth outcomes. So we work very targetedly on those. We also provide academic support, and we also work on working together as a team and helping to build a sense of community within schools. And so we have been in Wichita Public Schools for 6 years. We're in over 32 schools. We've also recently branched out. We're in Hayesville, Derby, and Mount Hope. Yeah. And so we work with children who are at risk, who are marginalized, who face risk factors, and we try to bolster protective factors by targeting those specific skills.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I know that was kind of off the cusp, but anytime we get, particularly with the children's services and endangered children, vulnerable children, when we get people in the room, I try to give them the mic to let everybody in the world know all the work you do. I admire you. I admire the work you do. Last note, at the end of this agenda today, we're going to talk about some of the changes that are coming from the federal level down to the local level and some of the grants that we're losing out on are being diminished. I actually see this as an incredible opportunity for the community to come together in a collaborative way. So while I have you in the room, Pando and Prime Fit and the Alliance and DCF, we're going to need you in a real way in this community. And we're going to be reaching out here in the next few weeks to talk about, hey, there's services that we're not going to be able to maybe be diminished from the county, reduced from the county, or we're not going to be able to do from the county anymore because we've lost funding and we need your help. So while I got you in the room and I'm looking at eye to eye, I want you to know that call is coming. And I think it's an incredible opportunity to meet some needs for the kids in this community. So thank you for being here. Thank you for the Alliance. We appreciate you all. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Appointments. Item D, accept the resignation of Larry Justice from the Riverside Township trustee position.
Okay, Mr. Wagner.
Thank you, Chairman. Justin Wagner, County Councilor. Item D involves the acceptance of the resignation of Larry Justice from the Riverside Township trustee position. The recommended action is to accept that resignation.
Okay. Riverside Township is District 5 and District 2. So, Commissioner Howell, would you like to?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Yeah, most of Riverside's in District 5, so I'd love to make this recommendation today. Larry was actually appointed years ago when there was an opening, and went through a very lengthy process to figure out the right person for that position, and Larry was the best. And I loved his last name. I think he should have been a judge. His last name is Justice. But anyway, Larry did a great job, and for personal reasons, he needs to step down. Sadly, I would accept his resignation today. So, Mr. Chairman, thanking Larry Justice for his service to Riverside Township in the Sedgwick County, I'll make a motion today to accept the resignation of Larry Justice.
I'd like to second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise. Aye. Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Next item, please.
Item E, resolution appointing Jimmy IRIZARRY VELEZ to the Riverside Township trustee position.
Hey, Mr. Wagner.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. And this is the resolution. It would be appointing Jimmy IRIZARRY to VELEZ to the Riverside Township trustee position, the position that we just accepted the resignation. The board did that. Under state law, the Board of County Commissioners is tasked with filling vacancies in township officer positions. Riverside Township, as already mentioned, is in Districts 2 and 5, so both Commissioners Howell and BLUBAUGH have recommended the appointment here. The recommended action is to adopt the resolution.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we interviewed a number of people that were interested in this position, but Jimmy let me know that he was interested, and I spent quite a bit of time talking to Jimmy about this position. I think he's going to do a really good job. He's experienced and he has time. He's interested in doing this. Available to him. He will not. Elected back last November, took his oath of office. Do a great job. Today, Jimmy IRIZARRY.
Okay. Roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH. Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Okay, and Jimmy is here, so come down. Our clerk is here. Mr. Kelly Arnold. He'll swear you in, and we'd welcome you to provide comments if you'd like.
Stand right there. All right. Good morning, Commission. Please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Kansas, and faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Sedgwick County Riverside Township Trustee. So help me God. So help me God. Congratulations. If you'd like to state anything, you may.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's something new to me, and I'll do the best I can at it, and I'll try to put a chicken in every pot.
There you go. I love it. Commissioner Howe.
I just want to make sure I got that comment in there because he promised a chicken in every pot. I want to make sure he follows up on that. So that was one reason we picked him today. So thank you, Jimmy, for stepping up. Really do appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. That's going to make the minutes. We're glad to hear it. While they're finishing up here, it is important to note that the township trustees and all the people that work through the townships play an incredible role here in Sedgwick County. They are the ones, if there's a dirt road or a ditch in Sedgwick County, in the unincorporated part, it's likely a township road or ditch that they maintain. Sedgwick County government has a limited dirt roads and ditches that we actually maintain. It's mostly done through the township. So that relationship, that partnership, the work they do for the constituents is incredibly important. So thank you for being willing to step up and serve. Okay. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item F, resolution reappointing Vanessa LOHF to the Sedgwick County Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Advisory Board.
Mr. Wagner.
Thank you, Chairman. This resolution would reappoint Vanessa LOHF to the Sedgwick County Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Advisory Board as recommended by Commissioner Wise. The recommended action is to adopt the resolution.
Okay, Commissioner Wise.
I'd like to make a motion to reappoint Vanessa. Now I'm going to say, is it LOHF or LOHF? LOHF, to the Sedgwick County Intellectual and Development Disabilities Advisory Board.
Okay, we have a motion. I'll second it. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howe.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Vanessa's here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Kansas, and faithfully discharge the duties of Sedgwick County Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities Advisory Board. So help me God. Congratulations.
Thank you.
If you'd like to state anything, you can.
Hey, good morning, Commission. I just want to thank Commissioner Wise for reappointing me. I was originally appointed by Commissioner Dennis during the pandemic and didn't get to do this part, so this is super fun. I was a parent of a child with special needs and have worked forever with the wheelchair clinic at CPRF, and this is something that I am super passionate about. Jeanette and I and Dee, who got me into this in the first place, have worked together for a very long time, and I think they do very important work, so I'm glad to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Vanessa, thank you so much. Fun fact, my very first job was I was a lifeguard at CPRF for 2 summers.
At the ranch?
I was, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So thank you very much for serving again, and hope to be able to connect with you and just get updates and everything that you guys are working on that board is so important, so thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Commissioner Meitzner.
Vanessa, I also want to thank you for sharing your story about your daughter. I serve on the board at CPRF, and we are very proud and happy of everything we can do in the wheelchair, customized wheelchair area. It's a special area, and we're actually expanding that around the state of Kansas because I think we're about the only area that can do these specialized. So anything that maybe we'll get together and if you know Pat Jonas and some of those people, maybe you can help us keep spreading the word around the state that we can do that. So it's a great story for you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Vanessa, thank you again for serving. You mentioned my appointment, Dee Neiswanger on the IDD board. I have another appointment coming in May, too, so very important work being done on the board. Thanks for serving.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Okay. Yeah.
Have a good day.
Okay. Madam Clerk, next item, please.
New business, item G, project search graduation recognition.
Okay, one of our favorite days of the year.
Yeah, I heard second only to the Road and Bridges show, so
yes.
I'm excited. Thank you guys for for being here, and we're going to recognize our Project Search graduates. For those of you that are fairly new to the board, we have a Project Search program here at Sedgwick County. It is a partnership between a school district and a business designed to give students with intellectual and developmental disabilities real-world work experience so that they can graduate into jobs. And so we're so excited. We have a good bunch this year. And Sedgwick County has been doing this, I believe, for over 10 years now. So, Bailey Means. All right. Bailey is a conscientious worker. She has got an excellent attitude. She's very reliable and independent. She interned at the Sedgwick County Jail, facilities and custodial, and print shop. She's worked a lot of different jobs, looking to narrow down her interest in her vocation. So, it's Bailey. Thank you. Gonzalez. As he's outgoing, excellent attitude. He's a hands-on, hard worker. He interned at Sedgwick County's print shop. Oh, thank you. Grounds maintenance, as well as Via Christi St. Francis in their food service department. Thank you, Azzy. Fabian Casada. All right, Fabian. Fabian is a diligent worker. He's independent, task-oriented team player. He's looking at part-time employment. He interned at Martin Interconnect Services and the Sedgwick County Print Shop. Do you want to say anything? Ashton Chesser. He has attention to detail, a good problem solver and communicator, and a real team player. He's got an interest in information technology. He interned at Via Christi St. Francis in the distribution, respiratory care, and facilities department. Ashton, you want to say anything? Okay. Certainly last but not least, we have Skylar Drum. She has a strong work ethic and an excellent attitude. She's reliable and service-oriented. She interned at Via Christi St. Francis in the distribution department, the lab, as well as Goodwill retail store, and she's really enjoyed retail and believe that's where she wants to have her employment. And thank you. Okay, and before I leave, I wanted to make sure I mention our virtual reverse job fair. It will be wrapping up May 2nd. It's an opportunity for all the interns, not just in USD 259, in Mays and Goddard as well, as for employers to see these interns, see what their job skills are, and maybe find a good employee. Sedgwick County has hired several, and I think about 80 or 90% are still employed with Sedgwick County. Once you find a good worker, you hold on. So I hope other businesses are interested and would participate in our reverse job fair. And last but not least, we are having a reception after this on the 6th floor. Oh, wait. Before I talk about the cookies, I want to thank everyone for a successful year, including our Project Search teacher, Chris Nichols, who's been here for 6 years. But she's retiring, so we will miss Chris, but we are happy for her. Thank you. Victoria Williams is at St. Teresa, or Via Christi St. Francis, and then we have our job coaches, and John Pinka, the principal for at Dunlap. We really appreciate him, as well as our supervisors in the departments, and David and Mitch in print shop. We couldn't do it without them. Corrections, maintenance, facilities, and the jail. We really appreciate that. We will be looking for additional departments for additional internships next year. We've interned a lot of very good students for next year, so we will be looking to recruit additional departments to participate. And now I'll talk about our reception. We do have cookies upstairs on the 6th floor. Commissioners, we'd love to have you. If your meeting runs long, we will certainly save you some cookies. So thank you.
Yes, very good. Okay, some questions and comments. Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to say thank you, Jeanette, for what you do in this program. I've had the distinct privilege, I believe, of seeing every graduate so far in this program. For the last 10 years, you've brought them through, and I've always been impressed with them. The work that they do is real, and it's relevant, and it's important, and you show them the value of work. I think the quality of life is better being engaged in a workplace. It's a wonderful experience, and it gets them started in that work path, that work career. So the connections you're making for these folks are invaluable, and I am very proud of you all, and thank you, Jeanette, so much. I just want to say also, I love the names. Some of these names are really cool. Bailey has an interesting spelling. AZ. I love the AZ. That's a cool name. I look at, and Fabian, Ashton, and Skylar. I'm so proud of all of you. Thank you for being here, for what you've done. I'm glad you're getting some recognition today. You certainly deserve it. Again, thank you, Jeanette.
Very good. I would also just congratulate all the graduates, and thank you for coming to work, particularly these departments of Sedgwick County government, those that intern. I also want to publicly thank USD 259, the May School District, the Derby School District. Thank you so much for your willingness to partner with this program, and the departments in Sedgwick County government that were willing to take an intern and to hopefully hire interns. Thank you for your willingness to do that. Jeanette, would you just, parting thought, why is this important to have this sort of internship and be able to engage those, particularly in the IDD community, to where they can get into jobs and get into workforce and be productive? Why is this important?
Oh, it's critical. The unemployment rate among individuals with disability is shockingly high, somewhere around 70%, whereas students that go through Project Search, generally there's at least a 70% employment rate. And so nothing bolsters your self-esteem as well as your quality of life and standard of living as having a job. And our students want to work, and they can work, and they prove it every day when they come to the internships and they're learning new skills. So employers are lucky to have some of our interns. So thank you for.
We're very lucky to have the interns. So thank you for the work everyone does in this program. It is absolutely wonderful for this community. So why don't we do this? Why don't we pause, take 5 minutes? We've got we'll take some pictures with our proclamations and the guests that are here today, and also with our graduates from Project Search. So give us about 5 minutes. We'll be right back.
So we'll go to K and then back to H.
Then you'll go back, yeah. Let's go back to that. Okay, we thank you for the patience there to maybe get some pictures and celebrate. Let's finish up some business here on item, give me my agenda correctly. Let's finish up some business on item G, the Project Search Graduation Recognition. I'd like to make a motion to receive and file. Second. A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner.
Aye.
Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Okay, I'd like to take a little privilege here, and we're going to go out of order on the new business, unless there's any objections. Item H is a zone change request. We believe the applicant is on his way and not here yet, so we're going to make some adjustments because we do have some guests that are here later in the agenda that we can move ahead to and make sure that we honor their time. So, Clerk, I would like to move and advance up item K. If you can call item K, please.
Item K, 2025 legislative session.
Okay, Tanya Cole.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Tanya Cole, Assistant County Manager. So here with a wrap-up of the 2025 legislative session, and although this was a shortened session, nonetheless it was still challenging and an exciting legislative session. As you know, we were always in constant communication with our fantastic lobbyist group, Watkins Public Strategies. That's made up of Jason Watkins, Jessica Lucas, and Nathaniel Blank. And of course, we all know that they do a great job of communicating, lobbying, and testifying on our behalf of Sedgwick County on our legislative platform and issues. And that starts, early, I would say, October, and then, of course, ends now end of April. So they're here with us this morning, so I'm going to be brief, and they're going to give us an update on the 2025 session, what we've accomplished, and then what we'll have some work to do to prepare for next year's legislative session. So I'm happy to turn it over this morning to Jessica Lucas.
Okay. Jessica, welcome. We're really, really grateful and glad that you guys are here today.
Thank you, Chairman. Glad to be here. I do want to recognize Jason Watkins, who is president of our firm, and Nathaniel Blank. I'm Jessica Lucas. Happy to be in front of all of you to give you a rundown. It was a very quick session. Normally, we would not be here at this time, and we actually would be in Topeka or waiting still to go back to Topeka on what was typically the break before we headed to veto session. But this year, we were on a 90 calendar day, and veto session was April 10th and 11th. So with that, I have some updates. One of the key changes for this year, not only did we change the calendar, and for your reference, the calendar next year will be the same. It's just another 90 days, but there was a new budget process, and that looked like the legislature basically setting aside Governor Kelly's budget, and they worked from their own foundational budget. And we started in the House and moved through there and then moved over to the Senate, where they reviewed the House's work and ultimately came to their final decision. So that was something new, a process we hadn't seen. I think we will see something similar next year, but probably both the House and Senate will work from their own budgets, but they'll do that at the same time. The other piece that was always new is we had new House and Senate members. There were 14 new senators out of the body of 40 and 25 new House members out of a body of 125. And then, of course, the makeup was 88 Republicans and 31 in the House, 31 senators that are Republicans. So that was a very healthy veto-proof majority, a supermajority, and we largely saw the session run according to what the wishes were for the majority party. From a Sedgwick County standpoint, we are guided largely by two things. One, your legislative platform, which takes into account all of the wish list of everyone within the county, all of your different departments. The second piece is also the joint agenda that we craft with our partners, the Chamber and the city, REAP, WSU, and the Greater Wichita Partnership. This year, we really had an emphasis on a few things. One of those was to tighten up when we have elections. Very glad we were able to get that across the line, House Bill 2022, so that will create some efficiencies for the election department, and we'll just see elections happen now on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in March, August, and November.
Another key piece of legislation, and I want to note this has not yet been signed. It was placed on the governor's desk April 18th, but this was House Bill 2275. This was the start of a solution to fix the apportionment of the county's 1% sales tax if you do lower your mill levy. This has not been signed yet, and all it does is simply make sure that from July 1, 2025 through December 31, 2026, that there are no changes. The intention there is that the league and the county association will come together and try and work on what is the appropriate formula, if you will, for how we'll do that apportionment. We are taking responsibility for convening those conversations with the league and county and making sure that that gets moving, so we're ready to go on the intended outcome next legislative session. Still eligible for action that we did not get all the way to the finish line, House Bill 2331, this is the cremains bill. There just simply wasn't a place to put that. It passed through the House. We look forward to bringing that back up when we get there in January of next year and moving that through. Another piece of legislation that made it through the House and will need some work in the Senate is House Bill 2329. This is the juvenile justice reform bill. So we're proud of the work that got that to that place and look forward to finishing that. And then also, I don't know if Brandy's here, but Senate Bill 119 is a Treasurer's Department bill, and we know there's still some work to continue on that. I also want to touch base on property taxes. The state would tell you they are now out of the property tax business, having passed legislation to now use SGF to fund the 1.5 mills. The ASTRA plan is a bill that would impact cities and counties. It's another idea to try and address property taxes at the local level. That's Senate Bill 82. That passed the House on the final day with 74 votes. It is eligible for action when we get back in January. I think it's certainly something that we'll probably continue to see some conversation, and the Senate will probably put their own fingerprints on that when we get back, and we'll be closely tracking that and want to be involved there, as that is a property tax bill that impacts you. Also, we saw changes made to the revenue neutral rate this year. It removes a provision around some deadlines, so you can now set the deadline for all taxing entities to submit your budgets by October 1st. You'll continue to see the state reimburse for the mailing of those statements, and there's some additional provisions in there, but that has, I think, been tweaked a little bit every year since it's been enacted, and hopefully we're finally getting to a place that works for everybody. In regard to items on the budget from your agenda, we saw resources added for in-home services for low-income seniors. There's $140,000 in addition for the 2025 budget, the current year, and $540,000 next year. The state also added $2 million for senior nutrition enhancements. Our CMHCs, ComCare, will benefit from this. There was an additional $4 million to cover uninsured population. And then the hospitals received $10 million. The past few years, we've been providing money to hospitals to reimburse for psychiatric care that they're doing until we open the mental health hospital. So that funding was put in the budget again this year. And lastly, the IDD population saw additional investments made there. They added $14 million to provide services to another 200 on the waiting list, as well as $10.5 million to increase reimbursement rates. So those are also additional investments that are being made for that important population. A couple of other things that we worked on, Senate Bill 70 was an open records bill, and Justin came to us with some language edits that we wanted to see in that. Those were added, and then the bill ultimately was stricken from the calendar, so we didn't have to worry about that, but the fix that we needed did get in. The banks came with some language that they were wanting to see additional investments prioritized in the state. There were some concerns around that. We were able to work through that and get that to a place that everyone was in agreement with. So happy about that. The No Impact Home-Based Business Fairness Act was defeated. I know everyone was not sad to see that go away. On the joint agenda, the child care bill was signed. That's House Bill 2045. I think the key component of this bill is that it creates one agency. Right now, there are all kinds of people that have different fingers, if you will, on parts of the child care process. So this brings everything together under one place, and hopefully will create some efficiencies and better synergy for child care in the state. It also did change some education requirements, so we can hopefully get more people providing child care services in the state, as well as improved ratios so that you can provide additional care and try and alleviate the two biggest challenges in the state for child care, as you all know, are affordability and access. And we're hopeful that this bill will be a helpful tool in improving both of those aspects. The other piece from our joint agenda that was addressed this year is the housing tax credit program. Basically, the state made that a little less rich, if you will. There was an allowance of $25 million each year for that. They have reduced that to an $8.8 million tax credit availability for the sum total of all of that. So it was identified as an important program. There were some folks that felt like we needed to get rid of that altogether. They had some concerns, but we just reduced the amount and also put a sunset on that. So the program will go away in 2028 unless the legislature takes action. It was originally slated to be a 10-year program. And lastly, and then I'll be happy to field any of your questions, as we look ahead to next year, I think we do have to adjust our own planning processes, your own planning processes as a county in planning for the next session. The legislature is actually going to start bringing some folks back in September to talk about the budget. So when we think about even just budget and appropriation priorities, we're probably going to want to have that information before September. This past year, they did convene leading up to session. They did not have any public comment. It was really just agencies. I don't know yet if we'll be asked to come and speak on behalf of requests that are outside of the agencies, but I certainly want us to be prepared for that, and knowing that they're going to start talking about the budget in September, we should probably have a sense of what any of our budget requests might be. The other piece of that is just the time that it takes. The revisor's office does not have as many staff. There's been a lot of turnover, so we just don't have the depth of that we've often seen in that office. So we have to make sure we're ahead of the game in everything, and appreciate that you guys do so much of that bill drafting work on the front end, which is helpful, but our goal would be that we have everything figured out this fall. So I think that looks like us talking about this agenda earlier. This year, we really tried to hone in on a few things. You guys have the largest agenda of any of the clients that we work with, and it's great that we're able to address so many of those things, but it can be kind of wieldy, and sometimes, as you know, doing a few things really well is better than trying to do a lot of things and not able to get all of those. So I think we want to make sure we're honing in on that. And I would say that I think we already have a good sense of what those priorities are for next year. We want to address House Bill 2331, the cremains bill, and get that across the finish line. Same with the Juvenile Justice Reform Bill, the Treasurer's Department piece. Another one that I think is important that this year we were not able to get through the process, and we need to get started, is to amend Senate Bill 228, which would add juvenile detention facilities for reimbursement. So that's another one that you guys had prioritized, and we are hopeful to address next year. And then on top of that, one of the things we don't talk about, but is a major aspect of the work that we're doing, is just simply playing defense, well, monitoring first everything that's going on. And you guys are impacted by so many things. I mean, virtually any committee in that building could do something that impacts your operation. So there's a lot just to keep our eyes on. And then, of course, playing defense and trying to make sure that ideas that no one's talked to us about that impact the county, we've got to go and figure out, okay, are these good ideas? If they're going somewhere, how do we make sure we get them where we want to go? So that's a rundown of the 2025 session. I don't know if there's anything else you think I should add, but with that, happy to field your questions, and myself or Jason or Nathaniel will have responses. Okay,
great. Jessica, thank you for that quick rundown. I'm sure there are questions or comments. Anything from the Commission? Commissioner Howell?
So it's always me. I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Jessica, thank you for the update. I really appreciate your team. I know you guys do really great work, and I'm so proud of what you do. And I'll just say once again, I think our lobbyist team is one of the most effective, successful teams in the State House. You guys get it done. You know how to move stuff forward, and so I'm really proud of what you do. I have a couple of questions on that HB 2275, the apportionment of sales tax. You said it's basically on pause right now. Is there a deadline that pause will end if we don't take action?
Yes, it is December 31st, 2026.
Okay, and who is going to be leading on, I mean, where's the discussion going to happen? Is this legislative discussion, or how is this going to be sorted out and, again, provide some type of a recommendation back to the legislature?
So the conversations we've had, Jason visited both with the Association of Counties and the League. Now, I appreciate the hard work that both of those organizations do. I'm not pretending that this is at the top of their priority list, but it certainly is at the top of ours. And so we will be going back to them here in May to start that conversation and make sure that we're working with them to do that. We appreciate, as you communicate through the association, that, hey, this is a priority and where are we going on that. So we will come back, and I'll let Jason say anything additional on that as he's led those conversations.
Yeah, I just add very quickly that I've mentioned to the manager that there needs to be a letter probably from the county signed by the chairman to both of those organizations referencing this legislation. As Jessica mentioned, what that does is it freezes the proportionality of the sales tax distribution. Right now, you're penalized if you lower your mill levy. The formula that we came up with and presented in the original bill that I think Commissioner Howe testified on would have actually done harm to other units of government. The city, the League of Municipalities and KAC are very aware of that. So we've communicated to both of them that we're going to pass this legislation that freezes that, as Jessica described, but that they would need to put a committee together that would figure out a long-term formula that didn't penalize counties or cities that lowered their mill levy, that at the same time didn't penalize those that did nothing at all. But again, I mean, we'll continue to communicate, but I do think it's important that a letter goes to both of those organizations from Sedgwick County reminding them, hey, you know, we're on a deadline, and you need to get to work.
Yeah. Again, I was just wondering if the county, you talked about a letter, but I want to make sure our perspective is understood by this committee that's going to do this work, and I don't know if there's an opportunity for us to testify or to speak in person in any way to talk to I guess explain the perspective, because if we can engage that and if there's an opportunity for us to actually speak with him, I think it would be really awesome. So,
well, my vision, not necessarily that anybody cares, but my vision would be that we would have a seat on that committee.
Yeah.
I mean, we need staff people involved, but from both of those organizations. But I think our vision would be that cities and counties would have representation in that group to help develop that formula.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tom, do you agree? I mean,
well,
sorry, Commissioner.
Jason and I have talked about this. I think the answer to your original question is we will lead on this. Sedgwick County will be at the table. We will mobilize partners, both at state level and we've got some mayors and administrators around our own county that are interested in being involved in this. I think everybody understands what we want to get to. It's just the legwork now to get it done. And I want to jump on Jason here, but I think the letter we want soon, beginning of summer, and this work, this discussion and committee work has to happen this summer. It can't wait till fall or.
And I imagine there's going to be, pretty robust discussion there. So it probably won't be, an hour-long meeting. It's going to be lengthy. And again, because the sales tax revenue is a zero-sum game of dollars, if we are making an argument that what is fair based on principle, what's fair has an advantage to Sedgwick County, then the cities are going to, see a reduction on their side. They may view that as unfair. It comes back to a principle argument. What's the intent of the sales tax is to lower the sales tax. Lower the mill levy or the property tax dependency. And so I think fundamentally that law was initially was drafted incorrectly to be in spirit with the intent of sales tax. But and I think I guess my goal would be to recognize the problem and maybe transition over a number of years to go from what we have today to where we want to be in a number of years. And so some type of transition timeline would be maybe a way to get there. I am interested in the Astra Fund. Again, I understand this is, I think, $60 million this time? There was some arguments of different numbers, but I think $60 million. But you're telling me that has not passed. Right now, the Astra Fund is not current law.
Correct. It only passed on the House with 74 votes.
And I don't think the Senate really loves the idea, but I have read that law, and I believe the distribution of ASTRA funds actually has the same problem that the sales tax funds currently have, and that there's the way the money is divided out is based on mill levy. Tax levy, let me say it that way. It's based on tax levy more than it's based on like assessed value. So if you're compliant with the provisions by not raising taxes past certain thresholds, you qualify for different amounts of money out of the ASTRA fund. There's a few questions I have, like, for example, if the fund doesn't have enough dollars in there to provide, if you will, I guess maybe I should say it this way. For everyone that's qualified, the money is divided up per those percentages, it sounds like, based on tax levy, not assessed value. So again, I would just, I'm wondering right now if there's some work to be done on the way that that formula works within that bill, as I think it's following the sales tax distribution principle in the bill as it's currently written, and I think we might want to challenge that before it passes. I'm not sure it's going to pass, though. I think the Senate is not in love with the idea. So I just want to say I'm a little bit concerned about the way the formula is currently described in that bill. I want to say thank you for your work on 2129. I was disappointed that the Senate decided not to take it up this year. I don't really know what I don't understand if it's just a short session and they're having trouble getting to stuff, or if they have a philosophical opposition to what the bill is trying to do. I don't know what it's going to take to move that bill forward, but this is I use the word juvenile corrections bill that we worked on. It has a huge impact in Sedgwick County, I think, especially Sedgwick County. I don't know what it's going to take to move that bill forward, but we need to talk about that, I think, and get some strategy built together to find out. I'm afraid there's philosophical opposition to this bill, which is why it did not move, is my thought. I may be wrong about that. We didn't talk about property tax bills. I mean, we did talk about the 1.5 mills, but I think there's still a great interest within the legislature to do something about property taxes. And I don't know if one of those amendments, SCR 1603 or 5011, HCR 5011, has any chance at this point of passing either body. I know they each want to pass their own body, but in terms of the opposite body, what's your read on those two bills right now? Do you have an opinion on what you think will happen on either one of those bills?
I think you have a situation where you have one chamber that has an idea they feel very strongly about, and another chamber that has an idea they feel very strongly about, and the ability to get everyone on the same team has proven to be a challenge. And I don't know that we're going to see any change on that. Obviously, we're going to continue to monitor those things and see where they go. There's a strong desire to address property taxes and a lot of pressure to try and address property taxes. But Jason and I, Nathaniel, were with some folks last night, and they feel like they got the state out of the property tax business and are touting that as a win. And I don't know where we're going to go from there.
I'll just share this and say there are some other ideas out there that I don't think some of these other ideas have been heard by the legislature, and largely have not been heard. As I've talked to some legislators independently or in small groups, and I shared some of these ideas, that on the onset they're very guarded. They don't really want to go down the first item I present to them. They're like, there's no way that's ever going to pass. But coupled with the second idea, they become a fan. And I would just tell you, I think there's a way to deal with the anger about property taxes, and it comes back to a different way of billing the taxpayers and providing information about what taxes are used for, and essentially educating them on where their dollars are going for each. I would talk about bifurcating the two tax payments to have one of them written to the county for local government, one of them written to the state for state schools, essentially. And by doing that, people then understand that this check provides the things they can see locally, and that check provides the stuff they see at the state through the public education system. So having that difference on how taxes are handled in the state of Kansas, I think does a lot to, again, educate the taxpayer, but also it addresses the anger that we are feeling right now by everyone who's just upset. The other issue I think we need to talk about, and again, I think that the appraiser's office, as it currently sits, there's some opportunities, I think, on how we change the appraiser's office and I would love to have some deeper conversations with you both about that. I really think we have some greatest opportunities to help the appraiser become not so much by using math tricks to hide the reality of property appraisals, but to make it more accurate. I think the inaccuracies is the biggest problem, and I think that there are some things we can do to improve the accuracy of the appraiser, but it's going to come back to the state's going to have to do some things at their side to address the inaccuracies of the appraiser. They do the best they can with the tools they have today, but I think that there is a lot of opportunity for improvement on the accuracy side. And once again, my opinion is taxes should be fair, and the fairness is based on accurate appraisals. And so if you believe that accuracy is the key for fairness, then that becomes the basis for my argument. So there's a lot of things we'd love to talk about. I love having you guys come before us and speak about the session. It was a very interesting session in so many ways. I think I made like 5 or 6 trips up there to testify on different bills. I love seeing you there, but every time I turn around, you guys were engaged doing your great work for the county. So again, as I wrap up here, thank you for what you do. I really am proud of you both, all 3 of you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Commissioner. Jesse, I just want to echo that. Jason, Nathaniel, thank you. I think we've said publicly that we feel like our group, our lobbyist group, Watkins Public Strategies, is top-notch, the best in the state, because you represent our interests, but you do so in a way to where it's not just giving you a piece of paper and you're going in and trying to negotiate on behalf of us. You actually take the time to understand what's happening on the local level. You understand how it impacts our ability to serve the constituents in Sedgwick County, and I'm 100% fully confident that you're advocating for the people here, not just Sedgwick County government, the organization, but the people of Sedgwick County, because you understand that. We've let the people at our Regional Forensic Science Center know that cremations bill was tied up kind of through some process stuff, and it's a little strange, but we think we're going to have a win there here early in the session next year. The treasurer's bill, we're getting creative on this end, how we do this, and I think we'll give another shot at that. But I just want to thank you guys for the work you do. You've always made yourself accessible to us, always, and that's helpful, that we always know that we have that you'll answer the phone when we call, and you shape a lot more than our legislative platform. The public is unaware of all that you do in shaping the platform, so and the things that we do here at Sedgwick County. I want to thank you publicly. There's a lot of staff in the legislative session. I feel like this is kind of, we're checking the box now to move on. We're kind of closing this chapter of this legislative session. A lot of staff from finance, legal, manager's office, particularly Tanya Cole. She's kind of taken this under her umbrella of her what she does in her responsibilities for Sedgwick County government as an assistant county manager. She's overseeing the legislative platform, the legislative liaison between your group and the commission, and it's a big lift. So Tanya, thank you very much. You did a hell of a job in this session, so thank you. Okay, Commissioner Meitzner.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I really don't need to speak after what you just said. Thanking everybody, and I just appreciate Jason, Nathaniel, Jessica, when I get a call or get a notice to, it's always a heads up that, okay, I'm going to need to pay attention, because you don't seem to waste our time. When you call is when you need us individually. Again, Tanya and manager, legal, we circle whatever department needs to be involved, and it seems like a really nice communication world working with you all, and appreciate it very much. So thank you.
Okay. Any last questions or comments? Okay, seeing none.
Commissioner, may I real quick? I also want
so
to
sorry.
give a shout out in particular to Tom and Tanya Cole, who are excellent teammates to us. Justin, I mean, we really are proud to do this work, but also proud because not everyone works well in Topeka, and not just the Sedgwick County piece and our relationship, but our relationship with our other partners within this region, I think is really helpful to moving forward on initiatives that are important and making sure that the South Central part of the state continues to thrive and be successful. And that's really a testament of all of you, the staff, and everyone's willingness to remember that, to your point, Chairman, it is about the people.
Yeah.
So we appreciate the opportunity to serve you and ultimately to represent Sedgwick County and our region's constituents. So thank you for that.
Well said. Great work. Appreciate you guys deeply. So, okay. I want to make a motion to receive and file the report given by the Watkins Public Strategies.
Second.
A motion in 2 seconds. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner.
Aye.
Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Okay, Madam Clerk, looking at the order here, Scott, do we have, okay, we want to make sure, why don't we move on to, give me 1 second, Commission. We're going to hang off on item H for a second. We want to make sure the applicant has an opportunity here. So let's move on to item I, the island annexations. So, Madam Clerk, will you please call item I?
Item I, island annexation request by the City of Clearwater pursuant to City of Clearwater Resolution 09-2025.
Hey, Samantha.
Good morning. Samantha Seang, Assistant County Counselor. I am presenting a City of Clearwater Island annexation request. As you know, KSA 12520C governs island annexation. Subsection A has 3 requirements. We are looking at doing item number 3 today, which is for the BOCC to vote by a 2/3 vote to find and determine that the annexation will not hinder and prevent growth and development of the area or that of any other city within Sedgwick County. Subsection C requires that this determination be made within 30 days following receipt of the resolution. To give you a timeline, the property owner submitted a request to the city on March 21st. The city passed a resolution on April 8th, and then the city submitted a certified copy of the resolution to the board on the 9th, and today, 14 days after, we're having this hearing. The subject property is located in Sedgwick County, Kansas, in the Perry Meadows Addition with a common address of 8031 South Butterfly Court. It is currently undeveloped, and its designated use is rural residential. It's located on the south side of West 79th Street South and 1/2 mile west of South 135th Street West. It's continuous with previously annexed areas by the city. The request is in order to receive city water. I'll take you to a couple through maps. The yellow area is the subject property that we're talking about. If you look, all of the darker yellow, mustard color tan, those have been parcels that have previously been annexed into the city. And as you can tell in this photo, this would make it meet the definition of an island annexation, given that Clearwater is located at the bottom of the screen, and then the island annexations in circle in the red. Here's an aerial photo. It's an undeveloped property, and you can also see some residential houses nearby there. And again, here's an aerial. Clearwater is at the bottom of the screen, and then the subject property annexed is in red. The planning department has evaluated this, and the proposed island annexation is consistent with the 2035 urban growth area for the city of Clearwater. No other city in Sedgwick County has identified the annex parcel as part of its future urban growth area. And again, annexation is to provide water services. Services will change. Water will now be Clearwater's responsibility. The city has no plans on extending the sewer service unless the property owner requests and pays for it. Police services will now be changed from the Sheriff's Department to the City of Clearwater. Likewise, fire will now be with the City of Clearwater's fire district. But of course, the delivery of services would also not be affected. Road maintenance, the city has an interlocal agreement with Nanisca Township to continue to provide road maintenance in the area. It is the recommendation that you find that the proposed island annexation by the City of Clearwater does not hinder the proper growth and development of the area and does not hinder the proper growth and development of any other city in Sedgwick County. With that, I can stand for any questions.
Okay. Thank you, Samantha. We've done a few of these in Clearwater, so most of the commissioners are familiar with this process. Any questions or comments?
No question.
Yeah, Commissioner Howell.
Thank you. I'm just, as I'm looking at some of these maps, I'm just curious. 135th Street, because this is I believe, a city of the third class. Am I right, Clearwater?
I believe so, yes.
And this is a section line road. Is that correct? I mean, the 135th Street says section line road. I believe it is. Yolyn says yes.
Yes.
I believe that the county maintains section line roads through third class or cities of the third class. So I'm just wondering what is Clearwater not just annex 135th Street for that 1 mile between their regular city and 70, excuse me. I guess it technically would be 2 miles if they went the whole way. But 79th Street, they could annex the road. It wouldn't substantially change the maintenance of that road, but it would allow them to do unilateral annexation versus island annexation. Has anybody raised that idea?
I have not, but I'm going to defer this to Public Works Director.
Good morning, Commissioners. For the record, Lynn Packer, your County Engineer and Director of Public Works. If I understand your question, Commissioner Howell, the City of Clearwater does not have and has not annexed the land adjacent to 135th Street up to the subdivision. Therefore, they are not eligible for annexation of the road.
Okay. Maybe the state laws change, but I mean, I have seen in other places where essentially a road was annexed to connect what would have been island annexation to main city, if you will, main city limits. And so again, I guess I'm just wondering, so it's prohibited by law. They cannot annex the road.
I will defer to either Sam or Justin on that, but I know that in the past there's been some thin, what they call thin longitudinal takings that my understanding were not found to be illegal. But in Sedgwick County, we don't have any connections such as that to connect a city to an island annexation area and just connecting up the road. We don't have any of those. But I'll defer to them as far as the legality.
I think it's a good question. And again, I think we have precedent so that we have approved these in the past, and the reason that there's still a number of properties there that are not part of this is because those landowners do not want to be annexed, it sounds like, because they have a tax advantage not to be annexed at this time. So they're going to hold off on being annexed so they can get a lower tax burden, if you will, for a time until they put a house on that property, at which point they will also want city water. And then, of course, then they'll be asking to be annexed. And so this is just every few months, it's another one of these over and over and over again. And so these folks are trying to avoid, I don't know how much tax difference it would be for these folks. I did some calculations on that. It wasn't a lot of money per year. It was a very small amount of money.
I believe that's accurate.
And I think that the amount of work we go through with legal and everything else and planning to do one of these annexations far exceeds the dollars that they save by not getting annexed on the front end versus doing this independently as a single property. So anyway, I think our cost is much, much higher than the value that they have by not paying a higher burden of taxes. I'd like to reach out to Clearwater and ask them, or maybe our legal, and have them kind of review whether or not it's even possible to annex that road, because I don't think it substantially changes the maintenance of that road because it's a section line road to a third city of the third class. But I do think it allows them to do unilateral annexation because every one of these properties is touching another one of these properties. They can annex the whole section and be done with it. So just an idea. I also think it's a little bit odd to think that, the sheriff responds to this property and the police respond to that property when they're side by side. Sedgwick County Fire responds to this property and Clearwater Fire Department responds to that property when it's a checkerboard. This is just, my opinion, we've allowed through somehow, whatever the process is that allowed this to happen, I think we should not allow this type of development to happen because of a checkerboard area of responsibilities is not fair to any of those service providers. Taxpayers on both sides of that are losing because they have to provide essentially services to the entire area because they're side by side. So having said that, I think that it's not good for taxpayers on a number of levels. So thank you for your answers. Appreciate that.
Okay, very good. Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Thank you, Chairman. And I kind of got some of the similar concerns as Commissioner Howell. I used to run into this a lot in the city, especially, like 119th, and there'd be like one house that it was county, and that guy'd be burning his trash and upsetting everybody in the city. And it's just two sets of rules for two people side by side. So really like to get away from that if possible.
Yeah.
After consulting with my co-counsel, KSA 12-520G indicates that we cannot annex the road strip just to do unilateral annexations.
Okay. I do have one question before. We've done several of these. Has there been correspondence with Clearwater? I know this would predate Commissioner BLUBAUGH's time on the commission. We reached out at one point last time we did this and said, hey, can we expedite this process?
Yes, Chairman Justin Wagner, County Councilor, and Samantha can correct me if I'm getting any of this wrong, but I believe the last one of these we had, we did reach out to the city of Clearwater. They're in a bit of a predicament because many years ago they agreed to start doing this. Usually cities will require an entire subdivision to be island annexed in at one time while the developer still owns the property, but I think it was 15 or 20 years ago, city of Clearwater did not require that when the developer wanted to be annexed in this case. And at that point, it's the Kansas statutes really place the discretion on that to be in the hands of the property owner. And so the city of Clearwater can't on their own annex these properties because there has to be the petition or the consent of the property owners. So they just get one by one island annexed as the property owners build houses, acquire the property, the new property owner from the developer, and build houses there. So there has been outreach, but they can't really change under state law the way they're doing it.
Understood. Okay, I do remember now. Okay. Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Thank you. I'd like to go ahead and make the motion to take the recommended action to find a proposed annexation and will not hinder or prevent the proper growth and development of the area or that of the other incorporated city located in Sedgwick County, and approve and sign the resolution.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner.
Aye.
Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Okay, let's keep moving forward on the annexations. We'll come back to item H shortly, but so now let's move on to item J. Clerk, go ahead and call item J.
Item J, island annexation request by the City of Wichita pursuant to the City of Wichita Resolution 25-147.
Hey, Samantha.
This is the City of Wichita island annexation request. We've got the same statute governing. Here's the timeline. The property owner submitted an island annexation request on March 3rd. The city passed a resolution on April 1st. They submitted a certified copy to the board on April 8th, and 15 days later, we are here today. The subject property is currently undeveloped and zoned as SF20, which is for large single lots. It is identified as new residential / employment mix, and new employment on the future use land map. The property owner has indicated an intent to develop the site with duplexes on approximately 64 acres and office and commercial structures on approximately 13 acres. This will require rezoning to TF3 and limited commercial. It's located in Sedgwick County on the east side of South Rock Road, and on the north side of the East 39th Street South. It abuts the Wichita city limits on the north, but that portion of the city is not contiguous with the rest of the city. Here is a map, and as you can see, the subject property is in yellow. Right above it is property that is part of Wichita, but then if you go further north, you'll see that there's a area that's not part of the city of Wichita, and that's how this becomes an island annexation. Here's a close-up view, and then here's an aerial view where you can see that it's undeveloped. And then here's a photo that shows you, again, why this qualifies as an island annexation. The planning department has evaluated this, and for the record, I would note that there is one error on the planning department's report that indicated that it was on North 39th Street, and it should have been south. In any case, no other city in Sedgwick County has identified this area as a future growth area. This annexation is consistent with the community investment plan, and the planning department recommends the BOCC make the requisite statutory findings. Services is as indicated here. Water and sewer will be provided by the City of Wichita. The currently County Sheriff's Department provides police services, and then that will go now to Wichita Police Department. Same thing with fire. It'll be the City of Wichita Fire Department that will handle this area. Road maintenance, Sedgwick County continues to maintain Rock Road and 39th Street. Upon annexation, the city will do that. The recommended action is to make the proposed findings that it does not hinder the proper growth and development of the area, and that it does not hinder the proper growth and development of any city in Sedgwick County.
Okay.
I can stand for questions.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Commissioner Howell.
I really don't have any questions. I was just going to comment that this is the better way of doing it. The developer gets the annexation out of the way before they start selling lots and properties to different homeowners. Had they, platted this into individual lots and sold them to individual owners, we'd have the same problem we have in Clearwater currently. So this is a better way to go, and because of that, I absolutely do support this. There is a lot of twin homes already in the area. They are full. They are apparently quite popular, so I have no problem supporting this. Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion in just a moment, but one other thing in your backup material that's wrong. It does say now it does say South Rock Road, but it also says District 3 when in fact it's District 5. So it's in my district, okay? Mr. Chairman, at the appropriate time, I'd be glad to make a motion. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on this item? Seeing none, Commissioner Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I make a motion that we find that the proposed annexation will not hinder or prevent the proper growth and development of the area, or that any other incorporated city located in Sedgwick County, we should authorize the chairman to approve and sign the resolution.
Okay. I'll second the motion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Samantha, thank you for the work on these. Appreciate it. Okay, let's circle back. Madam Clerk, will you please call item H?
Item H, ZON 2025-00001, zone change request in the county from SF20 single-family residential to TF3 two-family residential, generally located on West MacArthur Road and West Southwest Boulevard.
Hello, Scott Wadle.
Hello, good morning. Scott Wadle from the Planning Department. So for this case, as you heard, the applicant is requesting to rezone the subject site, which is outlined in the blue-green color, from SF20 single-family to TF3 two-family residential. This item is being heard today because protests were submitted against the application. In terms of the request, the applicant has indicated they're requesting the zone change in order to allow for the site to be developed with duplexes or twin homes. The applicant has submitted a plat that would plat the property with 15 lots, and that the access to that plat would be off of the old MacArthur Road, which is to the north. The applicant has also requested island annexation by the City of Wichita, which is nearly complete, and that process has been paused until the zoning process is concluded because they submitted the zoning application prior to getting that wrapped up. In terms of the property, the site is generally located, as you can see here, to the north and west of the intersection of MacArthur Road and K42 Highway. The subject site is approximately 4.7 acres in size, zoned SF20, currently in agricultural use, and is in the process of being platted. So here's a look at the zoning map, so you can see that. Then I'll flip back to the aerial. Properties to the north across MacArthur Road are zoned SF20 and LC Limited Commercial and are developed with single-family dwellings in agricultural use and also developed with a daycare. Property to the east and south across Southwest Boulevard is zoned LI Limited Industrial and SF20 and in agricultural use. Properties to the west across West MacArthur Road are zoned SF20 and developed with single-family dwellings. buildings. So again, here's a look at the zoning map. So in terms of review, on March 13th, the Planning Commission held a public hearing for this item. The Planning Commission ultimately ended up recommending approval of the request by a 10-to-1 vote. 6 individuals spoke in opposition to the request with concerns about added traffic, dust caused by travel on gravel roads, the transient nature of renters, the safety of students that attend daycare and school in close proximity to the site. Citizens Advisory Board, CAB 2, chose not to hear the request, and 2 protests were received against this application. Those protests constituted just about 3% of the protest area. Therefore, the Board of County Commissioners can approve the zone change request with a simple majority, 3 of 5 votes. So the recommendation coming to you from the Planning Commission is to adopt the findings of the Planning Commission, approve the zone change request, authorize the chairman to sign the resolution, and authorize the resolution to be published. Some quick notes on alternatives. As always, you can override the Planning Commission recommendation, adopt alternative findings, and deny the application. That would require 2/3 or 4 out of 5 votes. You can also return the case to the Planning Commission for further consideration with a statement specifying the basis for why you're returning it, and that would require just a simple majority. So with that, I'll take you through some additional graphics. So here's the aerial, here's the zoning map. Here's the map from the comprehensive plan, and it shows that it's recommended for both residential and employment, so a mix of those. Here's the map from the comp plan showing the urban growth area. It's in the city of Wichita's urban growth area. Here's the map from the zoning code showing zoning areas of influence, so it is not located in a zoning area of influence. And this is the protest map. Again, 2 protests were received, and you can see the portion of the properties that count towards the calculation are in red, so just at 3%. Here are photos from the site and surrounding area. No, I do believe that these are for a different case, so I apologize for that.
So.
Yes, I guess it was a quiz on my part. So the property is undeveloped, as you can see from the aerial. So with that, I will stand for any questions.
Okay, very good, Scott. Thank you. Before we move on to questions for Scott, I want to give the Commission an opportunity to declare any ex parte communication. We can start, Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
I have not had any ex parte communication.
And I have not had any ex parte communication.
Likewise, I've had 0 ex parte communication. I remain open-minded in the facts of the case.
I have not had any ex parte communication.
I've also had no ex parte communication.
Okay, any questions for Scott on the presentation? Okay, seeing none. Scott, is the applicant here?
Yes, sir. I believe their agent is.
Yep, we'd be happy to have the applicant or applicant agent come and provide testimony. If you can just state your name and address for the record, it'd be helpful.
Hello, my name is Kobe Pietro with Cobb Valley Engineering, 9139 East 37th Street. The agent on behalf of this project. A little bit of backstory. This has been the 3 previous lots. We've tried to sell these as single family, or the applicant has. They were not successful in getting those properties to sell. So they did a study and found that there was some demand for duplex lots on this location. With that, we came to the conclusion it's a pretty good location for, a lot of times we like to have duplex break up kind of the single family residential from these arterial roads. And that's kind of why we're here. There's a lot of concerns from the public about people cutting through the unmaintained county dirt roads there to the north to go to the school. We don't believe that is much of a concern. There was some conversation. People were worried about the old MacArthur is not dirt. It is an asphalt road. The dirt portions are just Susie and Annie Ave running north. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Okay, appreciate that. Colby, any questions for the applicant? Okay, Commissioner Howell.
Just remind me again, maybe it was already presented, but how many dwellings are we talking about on this property?
It's 15 lots, so 30 dwelling units.
And how big is this piece of property?
I don't remember total acreage. I can pull it from you.
4.73. Yep.
Okay.
Are these? Is each lot 6,000 square feet?
Each lot averages around 7,800 square feet.
Okay. So it's currently not platted. The platting still needs to happen, apparently. So we're just doing a zone change today to allow the TF. when's the plating supposed to happen?
And everything on that.
Okay. I guess I'm just a couple thoughts here. Is there going to be some type of setback on these homes so that the visibility lines between the two larger roads, MacArthur and K42, those sight lines will be clear so that you can see to pull across? Or and again, are both of those roads basically 60 miles an hour? What's the speed limits on those two roads?
So along Southwest Boulevard or K42 there, we do have a reserve with a planned berm to separate the units from the street. We will make sure to maintain a sight triangle at the intersection here of MacArthur and K42, so that way any cars proceeding on to K42 maintain adequate sight triangles on that. Speed limits on these, I believe MacArthur's 40 mile an hour. Please correct me if I'm wrong. K42 in that portion, I'm not quite sure. I think it's 55 or 60.
And I guess I just remembered there is actually now a stoplight there. I just remembered that. My experience is there was no traffic signal, but I guess there is one now.
Correct.
Okay. All right. It sounds like it's going to be a very high density, interesting place to live, but thank you. I have no reason to oppose it. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Thank you very much, Chairman. I'm actually pretty familiar with this property. Whenever I was on the Wichita City Council, we extended water and sewer down to Schulte, hoping that we would have the opportunity to bring in some more affordable housing. This is Goddard School District. There's not a lot of affordable housing out there. Actually, I was looking through some properties. Hayesville, I know it's different. 6 active listings is all that was in Hayesville. Wow. And there's a lot of growth out there, and we just don't have affordable housing. I know some of the feedback was talking about renters and stuff like that. You call this what you will. This is single-family housing. Because the lowest I'm seeing of any single-family housing going on right now is $400,000, and most people aren't going to be able to start in that range. So this is an affordable price range. Whether it's rented out or something in the beginning, I believe this will eventually become single-family housing for the area. So I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a good development. It's going to add to the tax base. Good location, and I'd like to go ahead and take the staff's recommended action.
We need to open up a public hearing.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, but I'll come back to you on that one, though, because I went on the motion. Commissioner Howell?
I just want to make sure you do.
Right, got it. Yes. I was going to give us some time to talk with the applicant a little bit, then open up a public hearing. I would just say, was there a discussion about an annexation request that could be coming to the city of Wichita? Did that happen in the hearing or with the planning commission? Or?
Yes, sir. So the annexation process is almost complete. It's very similar to the platting process in terms of where it is in the steps. So it has been paused. I believe they're at the publication stage. So once it's published, then I believe that it will be finalized. Okay. So it's very close to being done.
So to the applicant, is this rezoning, is the annexation contingent upon the rezoning request?
No, they're separated on that. The idea is to get 2-family here, but regardless of the zone change, the property will be annexed.
Sure. The background that Commissioner BLUBAUGH gave based on his experience is helpful understanding why the annexation request was in and their utilities are being shared. I would say that my 2.5 years here on the commission that we've had always a little bit of anxiousness of doing rezoning hearings knowing that an annexation into the city of Wichita is coming. We have a bit of tension or a little anxiousness knowing that we're making a zoning decision based on a property that will not be in Sedgwick County unincorporated area here very, very shortly. I'm still going to be supportive of this. The commissioner of the district is supportive of it. His background is helpful to me in understanding this, but I do think, I'll just say, Scott, Tom, Justin, I do think that we need to have a conversation about policy and what it looks like and in regards to zoning, knowing that an annexation is coming. We want the body that's going to house the local jurisdiction that's going to house these, no pun intended, but house this section to actually make those rezoning discussions. But it's not going to change and influence how I'm going to vote on this today, but I do think that we need to talk about policy moving forward. So, okay. Any questions on this before we open for public hearing? Okay. Colby, thank you so much. Remain close. And I want to give an opportunity now for the public to share. We would like to open up a public hearing on item H, the zone change request. Anyone from the public like to share? Okay, going once. Doesn't look like we have anyone from the public like to share, so I'll officially close the public hearing portion on item H, bring it back to the bench for discussion. Commissioners, any questions, comments, or would like to make a motion? Okay, Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Thank you, Chairman. And I appreciate your tip there. I think you do kind of need to look at that. So I'd like to take the recommended action to adopt the findings of the Metropolitan Area Planning Commission, approve the zone change request, sign the resolution, and authorize the resolution to be published.
Okay, I'll second the motion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise. Aye. Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for your patience. Okay, we were a little out of order earlier, so we're going to get ourselves back into order. So if you're following along at home, we're going to now move and ask our clerk to call item L.
Item L, consideration of settlement agreements for approval.
Okay. These discussions we've had here at the county. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I'll move to approve the settlement agreement with the authorization for the chairman to sign.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise. Aye. Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner.
Aye.
Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Okay, next item, please.
Item M, report of the Board of Bids and Contracts, regular meeting on April 17th, 2025.
Hey, Joe Thomas.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Joe Thomas, Purchasing Director. The meeting of the Board of Bids and Contracts of April 17th results in 7 items we are seeking your approval for. First one is the Charlotte Pipe addition, and this is for Public Works. Recommendation is to accept the low bid from Roston Construction, LLC, in the amount of $255,283.42. Second item is the 2025 Nova Chip for Public Works, and this recommendation is to accept the low bid from Pearson Construction, LLC, in the amount of $4,467,901.83. The third item is architectural and engineering services. Man, I'm having trouble with my eyes here today. Sorry. For EMS Post 1 for project services, and this recommendation is to accept the proposal from Haney and Associates Architects, and that's in the amount of $95,000. Item number 4 is the computer. I'm going to have someone read these for me. I'm sorry. Tanya, would you read these?
Yeah, Tanya.
Tell me what I need to read.
Just read the top part. This part here.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, item 4 is the Computer Solution Company, Forensic Advantage Maintenance Licensing and Support Service Contract, Regional Forensic Science Center. On the am I reading this?
Yes.
Okay.
Just the recommendation and who it's for.
Okay. On the recommendation to accept the quote from Forensic Advantage in the amount of $260,503.53, or excuse me, 54 cents. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm back now.
Okay, you're back.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
He's back.
Okay. $260,503.54. Sorry about that. New glasses and having a little problem today.
You're fine, bud.
Text message recruiting and scheduling solution for various departments. And that recommendation is to accept the negotiated proposal from Grayscale Labs, doing business as Grayscale, and an established contract pricing at the rates listed for a period of 2 years with 3 one-year options to renew. Item 6 is 3 each of the half-ton crew cab short bed trucks for fleet maintenance and public works. And this recommendation is to accept the low bid from Allen Samuels of Hutchinson Incorporated, doing business as Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, in the amount of $122,000. Well, $122,000. Well, you see the amount there. Sorry, and I do apologize. Okay, And the last item is the 1-ton 4-wheel drive crew cab with service body truck for Public Works and Fleet Management. And this recommendation is to accept the low bid from Don Hatton Chevrolet in the amount of $64,878. I'll be happy to try to answer any questions, recommend approval, do a better job of reading next week, and thank Tanya for picking up for me.
You are good. Commissioner Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I got, I think, two questions. The first one is on item 5, text message recruiting and scheduling solution. I do see Sheena in the back if that helps. But what exactly is this? What are we spending this money for? What does this do?
We'll see. Hi, I am Gina Gillespie, the Director of ERP, and I brought with me Kia Beaver, who is our business analyst in ERP. This text message, sorry, didn't realize how close I was to this. The text message and recruiting and scheduling solution is part of our an integration with our SAP recruiting module. So what this will do is this is going to be a integration that will allow for us to do some two-way communication, text messaging with candidates so that we can track the conversation between our candidates. This allows for a standard integration with our module that didn't come about with some of the other respondents that will, excuse me, I lost my little train of thought. This will allow for standard integration with SAP SuccessFactors so that we will be able to track this message, excuse me, track the message within inside of our SuccessFactors system. And there is a seamless integration so that users of this system won't realize that they are, that there's anything that they are actually Oh, I am so sorry. I'm trying to explain the integration between the recruiting module, where that standard integration that they have within the system so that the users won't actually realize that they're outside of the system, and the scheduling part of that.
Yeah, that's the integration. No, you're fine. Thank you, Gina. So part of this is we recognize that technology has also changed in the way that we communicate with our candidates. So long was the days of emails, and we recognize that people are not opening emails as much as they used to, nor are they answering the phones the way that they used to. So text messaging is the preferred method, and we're able to capture those conversations going back and forth, and then candidates will have a chance to go on and pick scheduling times at their convenience when we set that up within a parameter. And so it's just making it more user-friendly for our candidates.
Is this something we currently do?
The current module is not set up with these capabilities. So as Gina said, this is working within that module, and so the candidates will not know that they're stepping outside, but this is just something that's enhancing what we have right now.
When you say stepping outside, what do you mean by that phrase?
You could probably explain it best, but it's not within SuccessFactors.
I was losing my train of thought. I am so sorry. So within side of SuccessFactors, I'm trying to think if you guys actually use our SuccessFactors module. So within inside of that, what that standard integration allows is when you use that, you don't realize that you're outside of it. So when our recruiters are using it and they're trying to talk with the candidates inside of that, and they're texting or they're having some kind of communication, they don't realize that they're not inside of it, that there's an actual another system sitting inside of it, versus if you're using another type of system, you realize that you're actually using something else. You're typing outside of something else, and then it passes data across to that, and then we have to dump it in. So the difference between what this system does is it allows you to have a communication inside of the system that we already have and communicate with the candidates, versus if we were to use something without that type of integration, we would have to have some kind of communication and have a file or some type of medium pass that over to them, over to that system, and then kind of dump it in or upload it into that system. Does that make sense at all?
Not at all, but that's okay.
So sorry.
So I guess let me say it this way, see if you agree. So from the candidate's perspective, they're texting a person.
Right, not on the phone.
How are they doing it?
Through the computer.
Through the system. So the candidate's using their phones, but person from Sedgwick
Right.
County.
On the county side, it's through the computer.
Right.
But from the candidate side, they feel like they're just texting someone like that would a friend or something.
Yes. Yes.
Are you actually searching for candidates using texting as well? Like, are you essentially cold calling people with text messages, saying, "Are you aware there's a job opportunity and apply here"? Are you doing any of that with this?
Not with the text messaging, but we do have the ability to go out and look for candidates through different platforms and reach out and let them know that we have opportunities here at Sedgwick County. So we have done that.
So without this tool, they would probably need to do, I would assume, a phone call or an email.
Yes.
And if they don't respond to a phone call or email, I guess if they're trying to find a job, I don't know why that's something we should spend tax money for. I'm concerned about we are doing something that may be more familiar with the candidate because of their culture or something. I'm not quite sure why, but you would think if they're seeking a job, they would be tuned into answering the phone or making a phone call or working through email or visiting the office. I think there's a number of ways that they could be communicated with that are kind of more standardized ways of doing that besides text messaging. So
we can use the tool to communicate with them in that manner that you're discussing. We just wouldn't search in that manner. So within the tool that we already have, our current HR system, we can search our candidate database, and if we find candidates that are qualified for the jobs that we have, we can blast messages to them via this tool.
So just to be clear, this is a grand total of almost $250,000 for 5 years.
Over the course of 5 years, yes.
Yeah, I guess for me, I have some hesitancy to support this. I don't know that it's needed. It might be more comfortable for some candidates that are very into texting perhaps, but I don't know that this is something we ought to be doing. I don't know that I'm going to be okay with this one. So, Mr. Chairman, at some point, I'd probably like to vote on these separately, at least on number 5. And I have another question on another item as well. So, thank you.
Could I add one comment? We were talking in the department the other day. It was 25 years ago that we went paperless for our applications to make that change. And we see this, we view this in the department as one way to keep up with technology and moving forward and putting our platform that we are trying to be progressive and understand those different platforms that people prefer to be communicated through. So, yeah. Thank you.
If we can, before you go to the next one, I do have it. Is this mostly just a chat feature? Is that what's happening here? I use chat features a lot in business to communicate with customers. It's not texting from phone to phone. This is a chat feature that's doing it through a system. We utilize this a lot to talk to our customer base in private business. Is this something similar?
It actually includes that. So there are a multitude of things that it includes. It does include an AI assistant. So when a candidate has issues, they can use an AI assistant on the front end in the career site. So they can ask, we can set that up with pre-automated responses, and if they want to talk to a human being, they can reach one. So then they have the opportunity to reach someone as well. So they could say, hey, I'm done talking to the automated assistant, and it'll get them to someone in HR. We can direct that to whoever we want to. There are also some opportunities for ways for us to catch. There's some surveys in there, so there's some ways for us to be able to survey some of the candidates on the front end. So if they don't complete our application process, we can find out why. And one of the reasons that we've reached out and done some research on, candidates will often drop off and not complete things or not respond. They get ghosted a lot in HR. Mm-hmm. They try to reach out by phone or email, and we lose a lot of candidates that way. So text messaging, being able to have that response back and forth, and we can't do that unless a candidate actually actually says that we can do that. So that was one of the reasons this was a big.
I see. I guess my last question on this is that Sheena, I have no qualms with understanding the value of chat logs, texting to reach out to a workforce and a potential workforce and to get survey information. I guess the only question I guess would be, is this in a season and in a period where we're looking to be as lean as possible, does this give you the tools you need to better your job? Is this something that you see as the director of HR as something that we need this in order to enhance our capacity to recruit candidates into our workforce? I guess that's the question.
Absolutely.
Okay. Commissioner Howell, you had another item you wanted to discuss.
And again, thank you for your answers on that item. I have a question about the architectural engineering services, and I do see we have some EMS folks in the room. But I am interested in understanding, it seems like we're replacing a two-bay station with what appears to be, again, $95,000, with what could be, looks like a three-bay station. And there's some questions about whether this would fit or not. It seems like there should be fairly easy to answer the question about space on the property to do that large of a building. And I would assume that the amount of work that's going to be done on this might change based on the magnitude of the project. If they're doing 3 bays versus 2 bays, I would think the architecture firm would be doing less work. So I'm just surprised that we have a question about whether it's 2 bays or 3 bays, but we have a solid number on the architectural cost.
I'll speak briefly, and if I say anything wrong, then Tanya can correct me. But in the initial phase of this, there was not any specific discussion, nor in the original estimate from facilities was there any third bay included in that discussion. I was not familiar with a potential third bay until I saw it on the bid board and assumed that I would just address that once we hire the architect and we start working through this project, that we would address the fact that we really did not intend to spend money on expansion of space that would be covered by a roof. The intent was to go with a 2-bay station. The one thing that was talked about in advance was adding yet another office to this that did not exist on the North Webb Road facility, so that whenever a supervisor does come by, there's a dedicated office that they can use. Not that they're going to be housed there, but if they come by to talk to an employee, they have a private space that they can take one of the 2 or one of the 4 working employees, if there's 2 units there, into a private office that's a supervisor office. Even though it may not be utilized on a day-to-day basis, it would be used occasionally. But I was not familiar with any discussion about adding a third bay, even a small bay for a SUV, and it was not included in the original estimate from facilities. And so it's a discussion that really hasn't been part of the plan until it appeared on this agenda, as far as I know.
Do you see my point that the amount of dollars that are estimated to be for this particular firm, again, a big building versus a smaller building, or different sized buildings, I would think would have a different cost. So again, we have a fixed cost, but we don't know the size of the building.
Well, I can tell you that whenever facilities worked with the initial architect on this project, they took the facility from North Webb, basically the square footage, and they overlaid it on this piece of property before we bought this property to make sure it would fit. And again, there was no discussion about expanding the width of the building to add another bay. That's something that has been thrown in here late in the game as a concept, but not anything that was discussed or approved in advance. So when these people estimated their value, the cost, did they estimate this for a 3-bay or 2-bay? They did not.
Commissioner, I think in the way that reads is estimating for a potential for a third bay. So I think what we could do is, perhaps my suggestion would be, is maybe to just hold on this item and go back and just understand thoroughly what the architects have submitted on this for their proposal, and whether or not that included design for that third bay.
Okay. Again, I would just say this: if they thought it was a 2-bay, like some of us other ones thought, and they've been $95,000, and they come back and say, well, we think think a third bay would be what we want now. They might change the number from 95,000. Then we have a change order, right? So I don't want to approve something with the understanding that we don't really understand what we're talking about today. I think a minor deferral in this, again, to the next meeting, if that's okay, to sort through this. But that would be, I think it would be smart to do that. It'd be my preference. The building on North Webb, correct me if I'm wrong, total cost of construction was about $800,000. To spend nearly 1/8 of that on architectural work, when that building, frankly, is a good design. It doesn't need a lot of adjustment, if you will, to add another office. I think $100,000 to minorly modify that building, it seems like a lot of money for what they're being asked to do. Now, if they're designing a whole other building, okay, maybe this is brick and mortar. I don't know what this is, but maybe this would be reasonable if it was a different style building entirely. But we have a model that works, and I think if you use that model and you lay it on this property and you do a minor amendment, it shouldn't be $100,000. So I have a couple of concerns about this. I'd like to just, with those comments, I'd like to see this, defer this one, Mr. Chairman, if that's acceptable to you. I'd be glad to vote for the other 3 items, there's 7 items. Yeah. I'd be glad to vote for the other 5 items on the bid board, but these 2 items, I'd like to defer one and probably vote no on the other one. Thank you.
Okay. Make sure I got my items correct. Commissioner Howell, if you want, you're welcome. If you go ahead and just make some motions of what you're looking to do.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we approve the recommendations of the Board of Bids and Contracts with the exception of item 3 and item 5, which I'll discuss in just a moment. So it's 1 through 7 minus items 3 and items 5.
I might make a substitute motion there to make sure. I want to make sure I get everything you're asking to do here and make it represented here. There's 7 items total. So why don't we do this? Why don't we make a motion to defer item 3, a substitute motion, to defer item 3 to a future county commission meeting.
Okay.
Is that acceptable, Justin? We'll handle that one separately.
Okay.
Okay. So I have a motion to defer item 3. Give it a second.
Second.
A motion, a
discussion
second.
on that, just simply when staff's ready to bring it back. It could be at any meeting that they're ready. So
understood. Okay. We have a motion, a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner. Aye. Chairman Beatty.
Aye. And then
item 5, Mr. Chairman, let me make a fresh motion if that's acceptable. I make a motion to approve item 5, and again, I plan on voting no, just for transparency here. In my personal opinion, this is not critical funding. It's nice to have it, but I'm trying to find places to trim our budget. And to me, this is a place we don't have to spend money. It's nice, but it's not necessary. So for that reason, I'll be voting no. Make motion to approve item 5.
Okay. Motion. We have a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
No.
Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Okay. And that leaves 5 items. Items 1, 2, 4, 6, and 7. I make a motion to approve the bid board items that I just referenced. Second. A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Aye. So to be clear, Joe, so we're on the same page.
Started us off in a bad
No, you're fine, bud. You're fine. Item 5 was deferred. We're going to bring this back. Want a little bit of clarity. The other items, other 6 items were approved. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Okay. Madam Clerk.
Appreciate it.
Next item.
Consent agenda.
Manager Stoltz.
Good morning, Chairman and Commission. Tom Stoltz, County Manager, recommending approval of consent items and through double letter A this morning.
Okay, Commissioners, we've all worked through the consent agenda. Any questions or comments? Okay, I'll move to approve consent agenda items N through double A.
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner. Chairman Beatty.
Aye. Okay, next item, please.
Federal grants discussion.
Okay, federal grants discussion. Tom, is there anything we need to discuss here in the federal?
I don't think there's anything new, Chairman, and we can catch it next meeting.
Okay, very good. Lively discussions happening there with your committee, so we'll catch up next meeting. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Committee reports.
Okay, Commissioner, any committee reports that you'd like to share? Okay. Seeing none, next item, please.
Other.
Anything anything under other? Getting close to lunch, aren't we?
I've got one.
Commissioner Meitzner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to thank the leadership of the zoo, Sedgwick County Zoo, our Citizens Advisory Board. We chose to have that meeting at the zoo last Monday evening, a couple nights ago, and we're able to tour basically the commissary area, which everybody thinks that's food for commissary, but this is a whole building that's the food distribution and gathering place for all of the animals, and pretty impressive place. And then we got to go through the animal hospital with the veterinarians and got to see how that works for all kinds of things, and saw where the process of when an animal moves on, when an animal dies, and how they do that. So it's kind of very informative for our Citizens Advisory Board, and something that we as a commission don't really see as part of the functioning part. We all think you walk through a zoo and look at the animals, but there's some a couple of components that are, and I think Commissioner Wise saw the same. So I just thought my compliments to the zoo for extending that invitation for us to see it up firsthand. So thank you.
Yeah, very good. Appreciate that. I would also just say that today is Administrative Professionals Day, and I want to make a couple of acknowledgments. I want to acknowledge in our office Linda Baker, who does a wonderful job as our executive assistant. She's been with us now for a little less than a year, but she has to manage a lot. She manages not just our calendars, but our lives in many regards, and keep things in order, make sure we're in the right place at the right time. And she's also a wonderful ear to hear the good things and sometimes the hard things that we have to deal with, and she's the gatekeeper in that office. She does a great job. I'd also acknowledge in the manager's office that we work with quite frequently, Sherry and Sabrina, who do a wonderful job as well. They do keep things flowing up here. They are, a lot of people don't get to see, when you call the commission office or you call the manager's office, these are the people you talk to, and they make sure that the ball gets rolling and things stay smooth up here on the 6th floor. So I just want to acknowledge it's Administrative Professionals Day. I want to make sure that they're acknowledged and that they know that we appreciate all the work that they do. Okay, anything else under other? Okay, seeing none. Next item, please.
Executive session.
We do have an executive session today.
Yes, we do.
Justin, does 30 minutes?
Bear with me. Okay. Chairman, I think 30 minutes is sufficient from my understanding, talking with staff.
Okay, Commissioner Meitzner.
Okay, then I move that the Board of County Commissioners recess into executive session for 30 minutes until 12:20.
11.
Wait, I got the wrong. Sorry. Till 11:30.
11:40.
11:41. Until 11:41 to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel relating to a management position, and that the Board of County Commissioners return to this room from executive session at 11:41.
Okay, that's a motion. It got a little weird here at the end of this meeting.
I need Joe's glasses.
You got a motion. I'll second the motion. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner BLUBAUGH.
Aye.
Commissioner Wise.
Aye.
Commissioner Howell.
Aye.
Commissioner Meitzner.
Aye.
Chairman Beatty.
Aye. We'll be back here at 11:41. Okay, we're back from executive session. There was no binding action taken today. Anything else need to come before the commission? Okay, seeing none. Have a great week. We're officially adjourned.